Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I'd like to take you through how I created this data story for the Pacific DataViz Challenge 2024. So on the Pacific DataViz Challenge website, I'll just scroll down. One of the requirements for this challenge is storytelling. So storytelling is a project that I've never done before. I usually create data visualization and reports, but never a data story. There's a difference between the two. So data visualization is when we take numbers and data and turn them into pictures or visuals, so it's easy to understand. With a data story, in addition to the data and the visuals, as we have in data visualization, we are also adding the components of a story. And the components of a story includes the situation, the conflict, and the resolution, with the aim of communicating a specific insight to your target audience, prompting them to act. So just a first disclaimer, I'd like to say that since this is my first data storytelling project, I may have made some errors in the way I present the information based on how I understand a data story should be. So if you've got experience in data storytelling, please share your experiences in the comment section below so we can all learn from each other. But after going through this project, this is what I've learned so far. So the original data story that I submitted for the Pacific DataViz Challenge is in French, but for the purposes of this video, I translated it to English so you can follow along. So the data story is about domestic violence cases in the southern province of New Caledonia between 2019 and 2023. The main message behind the story is break the silence, encouraging open discussions. In the first page, I present an overview of the domestic violence situation, highlighting some important statistics like the total number of perpetrators and the total number of victims in the given period. I also highlight the fact that 90% of the victims are women. Next, I go on to highlighting the economic and housing situation of both victims and perpetrators. In the next page, I present the top 3 dominant forms of violence, namely physical, verbal, and psychological. Then I go on to highlighting the fact that children are very much impacted by domestic violence and can also be considered as victims. From there, I go on to proposing a possible solution, the help of the community. That's everyone close to the victims and the perpetrators. And finally, I propose some actions and recommendations. I use 3 main resources to help me in this data storytelling project. So the first one is the book from Nussbaumer, Knaflic. It's Storytelling with Data, a data visualization guide for business professionals. So this book has been very helpful to me. I read the whole book, but this book has been very helpful to me, and I'd just like to share with you one chapter. In chapter 2, Cole discusses choosing an effective visual. So if I just open up that, go to that page. So in choosing an effective visual, Cole not only discusses the type of visual that you should choose, I also like the fact that she's given some examples on how you can present your data using that type of visual, like bringing focus to the information that you want the user to be, or you want the audience to be focused on. The second resource that has been helpful to me is the book by Brent, Dykes, Effective Data Storytelling. I didn't get to read the entire book, but one of the main points that sort of stuck out to me was the difference between story framing and storytelling. This really explained or clarified a lot of questions that I had, because I realized that in most of the work that I do, or in the work that I do every day by creating visuals and creating reports, was actually story framing. But in terms of storytelling, it's us extracting an insight from our story framing, the story that from the main analysis, the information, and we're diving into that particular insight or that particular message that we want our audience to focus on. So the final resource that really helped me in this data storytelling project is this YouTube video here, PowerPoint Storytelling, How Mackenzie, Bain, and BCG Create Compelling Presentations by Paul at the Analyst Academy. This video alone sort of gave me a very clear picture, or gave me a very clear idea on how I can structure the information on each page. So a big shout out to Paul at the Analyst Academy. I'll put all the relevant links below so you can check out these resources yourself as well. Okay, so now let's get into the process that I follow to create this data story. So we're in Power BI Desktop, and as usual we'll go over to Transform Data. Okay, so the data source for this data story is a CSV file. So I imported the CSV file, and from there I created all my, or just one fact table and the necessary dimension tables. So if you watch my previous videos, you'll know the way in which I usually do it. So I used exactly the same sort of method to create my fact tables here and all my dimension tables. So I'll just close out from there. Okay, next let's look at the data model. Okay, so this is the star schema data model behind this data story. So as usual, we've got a central fact table and all our necessary dimension tables around it. Okay, so once the data model was in place, I went on to create the key measures. So some of the key measures include the total number of cases, the total number of victims, the total number of perpetrators, and all the necessary measures. So the next step, I went on to doing some exploratory data analysis. So in data analysis, when we're working through our data, we go through two types of analysis. We've got exploratory analysis and we've got explanatory analysis. So in data exploratory analysis phase, we're trying to understand or get more information about our data set, identify any insights. We'd also like to know the quality of our data, if there's a lot of null values, missing data, and all that. The quality of the data. So that's all the tasks that we go through in the exploratory analysis. In the explanatory analysis, that's when we want to communicate a specific insight that we've already identified in the exploratory analysis phase. So in the explanatory analysis phase, that's where the data storytelling comes in. So for my data storytelling project, in the exploratory analysis phase, I created a similar page as you can see here, just putting on just some simple visuals and adding some basic filters up here just to identify the trends or some insights and getting more information about my data. I also used ChatGPT to help me in the data exploratory phase. I explained how you can use ChatGPT to analyze your data. I'll put the link below as well. So I used Power BI and ChatGPT to quickly get some insights about my data set. So from there, I moved on to the storytelling phase, which I put together all my report pages to tell a story by applying all the skills that I learned from the 3 resources as I mentioned earlier. Okay, so this brings me to the end of my video. In future projects, I'll definitely be improving on this data storytelling. As I said, this is my first project and I am so looking forward to working on other data storytelling projects as well. And definitely I will be improving from what I've learned. Please let me know in the comment section below what you think about this process, about my data story project as well. I'll put the link below to the Power BI I'll put the Power BI link below. So let me know what you think about this project, and let's discuss and learn together. Well, thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you in the next video.